Those who receive God will be given the gracious and amazing right to become God's children according to his promise. It is for this reason that God grants a ceremony through which we can firmly believe in God and absolutely receive him. Let's take a look at John chapter 6, verse 53. It says, Jesus said to them, I tell you the truth. Unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood has eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is real food, and my blood is real drink. Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood remains in me, and I in him. What this means is that they have received God in them. You do not automatically receive God just by saying, I believe in God, so I must be a child of God. God taught us in great detail how to receive him. We must have Christ's flesh and blood in us. Then what is the way which God has allowed us to have his flesh and blood in us? When you read Matthew chapter 26, verse 17, it says, On the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, Where do you want us to make preparations for you to eat the Passover? He replied, Go into the city to a certain man and tell him, The teacher says, My appointed time is near. I am going to celebrate the Passover with my disciples at your house. So the disciples did as Jesus had directed them and prepared the Passover. Why did Jesus direct his disciples to keep the Passover? Let's go to verse 26. While they were eating, Jesus took bread, gave thanks, and broke it, and gave it to his disciples, saying, Take and eat. This is my body. When you read verse 27, it says, Then he took the cup. Isn't this the Passover wine? Gave thanks and offered it to them, saying, Drink from it, all of you. This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. Jesus Christ granted his flesh and blood through the Passover bread and wine, and those who eat his flesh and drink his blood to have eternal life, according to John chapter 6, verse 54. In other words, those who receive God and have God in them will be led to receive the blessing of eternal life. According to Matthew chapter 26, God put special meaning in the Passover wine. The blood that Christ shed for many for the forgiveness of sins is contained in the Passover wine. Therefore, those who claim to receive God or have God in them must be the people who dwell in the truth of the Passover. God put all the promises and blessings of receiving God in the Passover. Thus, merely attending a church does not guarantee that you have received God. In order to fully receive God, God established a regulation and process by which we can receive him. Without fulfilling this regulation, we cannot say, we have God in us. We have received God. By this, I would like to finish today's sermon. Thank you very much.